Good evening, everyone. Is that working now? Yeah. Awesome. We were told not to touch the on-off button, but unfortunately I had to. Well, welcome, and thank you everyone for coming out on this unseasonably warm night. We do apologize for the heat. Unfortunately, we can't control that. We do have plenty of water out in the lobby for anyone who would like to step out and take a refreshing break. But again, welcome. Tonight we are, CSAC is proud to join with the Me2 Orchestra to host a night of classical music to raise awareness and work against stigma for mental health in our community. For those of you who are meeting CSAC for the first time or have been engaged with us before, we are a counseling service of Addison County. We've been around since 1959, providing mental health, behavioral health, and developmental services in Addison County, as our name suggests. I'm going to keep my remarks brief because I think you're all here to see these lovely folks. But nights like this remind us the importance of community, the importance of coming together, not only to have wonderful entertainment, but to just sit and acknowledge mental health is important. It is an important topic to discuss, and it's an important topic to just be part of, right? We don't have to wait for crises. We don't have to wait for an advocacy event. We can just be together and see the power of coming together as a community and the work that that does to eliminate barriers to mental health services and care, as well as just see that, again, we are all one community. We are all here to support each other. And so with that, I'm going to pass it on to Phoenix.
Hello, everyone. My name is Phoenix Crockett, and I'm the managing director of Me2 Orchestra of Burlington. For just about 15 years now, we have met weekly to form our stigma-free zone, where people of all brain types can get together and play classical music. Classical music is not always a place for everyone. I learned this as a lifelong cellist who also struggled with mental health issues more or less since I was a child. When I was 18 years old, I was accepted by this group despite sometimes disheveled appearance, erratic attendance records, some communication problems, and a lack of real adult orchestra hours. They were willing to teach, and I was willing to learn. I sat in front of, at that time, a 90-year-old woman and behind a 12-year-old, and the group sounded amazing. I was always astounded with how excellently everybody played. And I was even more floored by the strength of the community. I was in the cello section, as I mentioned, and over time, one of those cellists would become someone that I call when I was really down and out. One of them would deliver my first child. One of them is here tonight. There was a big group of people there, and the community has remained strong ever since. Our group has played in hospitals, we have played on lawns, we have played in subways and airports and correctional facilities and a variety of other settings, and high schools all over the place, really trying to spread our message about our stigma-free zone. Our message is always the same. The stigma about mental illness has no place with us. Around 60% of our members in this group here have disclosed a mental health diagnosis, and a few have reached out to me, even today, to discuss mental health symptoms of things that were going on. And that's at the heart of what we do. That is who we are. And they're ready to put on a magnificent performance. A couple of quick housekeeping things as well. We do ask you to refrain from flash photography. Of course, that distracts our performers. There are bathrooms directly out. They are single, so if they seem blocked, this is the reason that they are in use. There's also one off to the side here. We ask folks to enter and exit between pieces if possible, to limit those distractions as well. And there will be folks in the lobby kind of helping with that decision making as it goes. If you look in your program, there's a piece called When Quiet Comes. After that piece, we're going to do something that is a tradition for our performances, and it is a Q&A. And during that time, I'm going to come to the audience. I'm going to step right here, and I'm going to ask if people have questions about what we do, how we're formed, what my middle name is, whatever the things that come to mind are for you. And the reason that we do that is because we play all this wonderful music by these wonderful artists, and it may not be exactly clear some of the mechanisms of that. And you can also ask questions about the music or about the instruments as it may be. I tell you that so that you can be thinking of your questions before we get there. And you can also talk directly to the orchestra or to Mike, our conductor, as well. So, another tradition of ours, which will kick off the next part of the show, is before every rehearsal, a member of the orchestra steps forward and leads everyone just in a brief breathing and centering exercise. I don't know when this started or how this started. Most typically, oh, hi Kate. That would be conducted by Marguerite, who is from our violin section. Unfortunately, she was not able to make it tonight because she was busy with a very small newborn she recently gave birth. Thank you, Marguerite, for this. Oh yes, she would think it was so funny that we were clapping for that here. But without further ado, once again, I am Phoenix. You'll hear from me a little bit later. I'm gonna hand the microphone off for breathing.
Hi, I'm Kate, and I'm happy to be here. I'm part of the bassoon section, so it's the sticky uppy thing in case anyone wants to know. Oh yeah, let's silence our phones. And I would invite you to, I would like you to use your hands for this, so you can put down anything of your hands right now in a safe spot. And we do this to help us focus, and because breathing together as an orchestra is really important. So we like to invite you to do it too. All right. This is gonna be tricky for me with a microphone, so I'm gonna start and then put down the mic. You're gonna take, I'm gonna project. So you're gonna take one hand, and it doesn't matter which one, and you're gonna start at the base of your thumb. You're gonna trace your hand, breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, and breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Well, thank you so much for that warm welcome, if you'll pardon the expression. We're so happy that you decided to join us here for this Me2 Burlington Orchestra concert this evening. An early celebration of our 250th anniversary as a country. Not exactly a patriotic program per se, but a program that's made up of American composers. And there is no more American composer, I think, it can be said, than John Philip Sousa, the composer of the work that you just heard. Of course, many people know of John Philip Sousa as the March King, but he also had an ambition to become the equivalent of Gilbert and Sullivan in terms of operetta writing in America. And the work that you just heard, the Glassblowers, was actually, that was the overture to the Glassblowers. That was his very last operetta. Now, the operetta is set in the Spanish-American War, and part of the action takes place down in Cuba. So you may have noticed a little bit of a Latin feel. I mean, Latin for Sousa. I mean, let's not get carried away here, but a little bit of a Latin feel in this music. And it really is a charming work. Actually, was restaged by the Glimmerglass Opera Company back in 2000 to great success. So really charming music. We're going to continue now with a contemporary of Sousa's, Edward MacDowell. They were contemporaries, but honestly, that's about all they had in common. Sousa really considered himself to be a populist composer, whereas MacDowell considered himself a little bit more seriously. He trained in Europe, had great success as a student there, and came back to America and was among a school of composers that was really striving to become significant in terms of classical composition. Most of MacDowell's compositions were for piano. He did write several works for orchestra, but by far his best known works were written for the piano, and they were usually in a form known as miniatures. So he often published a suite of very short movements, which is exactly what you're going to hear in this particular suite, which was originally written for piano, but then was later rescored for orchestra. I think it's also important to mention, in light of our mission here in Me2, that MacDowell struggled with depression throughout his life. It was something that at times really derailed his career and created great artistic challenges for him. And it's pretty clear that he often channeled a lot of his emotions into his music. And so in this suite, we're going to play 6 of the 10 movements, by the way. You're going to hear some music that is just incredibly beautiful. The first movement is To a Wild Rose, which is by far MacDowell's best-known work. Other movements that are more charming and uplifting, but you're also going to hear a certain amount of pathos in this music that I think was very personal for MacDowell. So we hope that you enjoy these 6 movements from the Woodland Suite of Edward MacDowell. continue our program with a much more recent American composer, Bruce Reiprich. This is a work actually that was suggested to me by the founder of Me2, Ronald Brownstein, who I believe is with us here this evening. We're honored to have Ronald with us. I see fingers pointing in directions. It's kind of dark out there, but Ronald, thank you for coming here tonight. And thank you for this suggestion. You know, I was talking to Ronald about my idea for this program of American music, but was struggling to find a piece that was a little more quiet and reflective, and that would really kind of feature our strings. And he suggested this work that you're about to hear, which he had done previously with a Me2 group. And I was unfamiliar with this composer as well, but I think what you're going to find when you hear Bruce Reiprich's music is someone who is very okay with the idea of taking time to let the music develop. A lot of the spirit of this music is reflected in the title, When Quiet Comes. And we all, I think, find ourselves in those moments, especially in nature. We know that, reading about Bruce, we know that nature is a very heavy influence on his music. And oftentimes when I find myself in those natural settings, I have to remind myself to kind of quiet my mind so I can really enjoy the beauty of the space that surrounds me. And I think this is a concept that Bruce is very, very comfortable with his music. He really lets it develop very quietly, very slowly, but it really has a wonderful effect on lowering the blood pressure, if you will. So we hope that you enjoy this lovely work that features our own pianist, Jessica Laughlin, back there with the lid all the way up so you can hear her wonderful music. This is Bruce Reiprich's When Quiet Comes.
hello everyone. This is always my favorite part of the show. Not only because I love to hear what people are curious about and what people want me to know, but also because I spent a long time as a teacher, so I'm very used to this format of speaking. This is too far away. I'm coming closer to you. Much better, much better. Who wants to fire the first arrow? Any question for me or the group about how we operate or what we do? Yes, please, please. How long does it take me to train these people? Well, it starts when they're 7 or 8 years old for a lot of them. More than half the people in this group have played their instruments longer than there's been a Phoenix Crockett. But as far as working on our music goes, between 8 and 10 weeks, is that about right? We work on these for 2 hours a week on Tuesday nights. So they really do pull it together quite fast. They're a very dedicated group and they practice a lot at home in between those rehearsals as well. Other people? Yes, friend? No, please.
Are the percussionists, are they playing multiple things back there?
The percussionists are playing multiple things. Most of them are responsible for several instruments. We have the big timpani, the dung, right? Lots of different drums, auxiliary pieces, all 3 of them, they're wonderful. Yeah, they do an awful lot. Other groups, yeah, thank you for asking. There is another orchestra in Boston, Massachusetts, and there's another one in Manchester, New Hampshire as well. The Boston group has a choir and a flute choir, and who knows what they have now. We have tried in the past to do different things like that. There's been mixed interest, but it's always on our minds for sure. Yes? Amazing, thank you.
Anybody join? Yes.
Yeah.
Please come. Bring an instrument.
The thing is, I live in Middlebury and I don't drive.
Who lives in Middlebury?
Anybody live in Addison County?
We'll figure it out. Shoot me an email, it's somewhere in this messages. We can figure something out.
Any other countries adapted this idea or adopted this idea?
No other countries yet. We're working in other US cities at the moment, but I would love to see that happen. We're right next to Montreal. I mean, that's the first step, right? Yes, sir.
Are there people in the orchestra that play either flute and trumpet or cornet or saxophone also?
A lot of our members of our orchestra play a wide variety of instruments. Raise your hand if you play more than the instrument that you are currently playing. Wow. Raise your hand if that is flute, saxophone, or cornet to ask this question specifically. Those ones. Yes.
I have a question for the performers.
Question for the performers.
I'm studying music. Do any of you guys have advice for preventing burnout?
Preventing burnout as a musician. She's studying music. Anyone that's been in it for a long time have a comment on that?
Join the orchestra.
Yeah, join our group, first and foremost. I was in college for music for a while, doing performance. I also experienced a lot of burnout. I had to really use my resources. I had to be building as big of a community as possible, and I had to be strengthening myself in ways that were not music. Eating right, exercising, and working on my mental health specifically. I don't think anybody would disagree with those points. So many great questions. That was wonderful. Yes, please.
Can you explain Me2, how you got the name?
Yes, how we got the name. So, our name, Me2, is very special to us. Probably one of the things that comes to your mind is a much later movement, the Me2 movement, right? Which sparked a whole different set of conversations. That was after us. At the time, the idea was that our founder, Ronnie, wanted to have a group of specifically classical musicians who could get together and where one might say, I'm really, really struggling with my mental health. I have this and that disorder or these sorts of things that are really affecting me, and then someone else might say, and me too. And we can keep on getting through this together, right? I had that exact moment with Ronnie many years ago, and so with many other people in this group since then. So it's really this symbol of inclusivity for us. Other folks before I let the musicians play their instruments. I want to say oh yes, please sir, please.
Have you collected any data or anecdotally or otherwise about the connection between playing this music and improving mental health?
Have I collected any data about playing this music and improving mental health? Luckily for them, we're not a research organization, but that's actually part of what my role was before even joining this group. And if you Google up Phoenix Crockett Grand Rounds, Phoenix Crockett UVM, it was a lot of explaining as best as I could what these connections were between music education and playing music together and community music and those other things. So we have a lot of materials available on that if anyone else is interested too. I'm happy to send you the binder that I keep on these things. As far as anecdotally or qualitative information, many people have shared their stories with us over time. And we're so lucky to get to hear those both at our shows and at our rehearsals. And we do keep track of that. One of the major things that we've seen over time is people coming and saying, I don't know what I would do without this group, right? And that kind of basic idea of having a built-in community, have something that's going to be there for you, a place where you can play, a place where you can be together, a place where the intention of community is such a big part of it. People say it really does help them, it really does improve their mental health. Mine specifically, I mentioned earlier, I joined the group just at the very beginning of my adulthood, and everyone commented on how it affected me over time, and those who were involved in the group at the time noticed and have commented on it since then, so it's been one of our greatest triumphs. Thank you. Oh yes, please.
I'm wondering if, because this is through Addison County, do you work with other counties within the state of Vermont?
Absolutely, wonderful question, glad you brought it up. We have traditionally been a strictly Chittenden County group. We rehearse in Burlington, and most of our shows have been in Colchester and around those areas. The reason for this show, and the show that preceded it last year, is specifically to address that issue, to get into other counties, to get into other parts of Vermont. We would love to hear from you. If you're a Franklin County group, Washington County, I can't name all the counties in Vermont. You'd think I would. But we would love to be in as many parts of Vermont as possible. We think our message can be powerful in every community. Thank you guys so much. I'm going to hand this microphone back up on stage. We're going to hear some beautiful music. Thank you. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Phoenix, and thank you for those great questions. We're going to brighten things up here a little bit with the music of Kander and Ebb, the renowned Broadway musical team, and music from their musical Chicago, which many of us are familiar with from the film that came out a few years ago. But believe it or not, this show celebrated its 50th anniversary last year. And it's a show that harkens back even earlier in the 20th century to Chicago, of course, the city of Chicago, but more specifically, early American jazz. And even though all of the tunes that you're going to hear in this medley are original to Kander and Ebb, the way that they captured the essence of those early jazz styles was fantastic. We think that you're going to enjoy this arrangement. We certainly have enjoyed preparing it. This is Kander and Ebb's Chicago. Well, before we finish things up here, I want to say thanks to all of you for coming out on this very warm evening and allowing us to share our music with you. I'd like to thank the Counseling Services of Addison County for hosting us here so generously. Yes, thank you so much. And if this is your first Me2 concert, we really hope it's not your last Me2 concert. We take the summer off, but we'll be back at it again in the fall. And please keep an ear out. We'll make sure that we get the word out about our concerts and really hope to see you again. We're going to finish things up here as we started with music of the March King, but this time it's one of his marches. His greatest march, our national march, the Stars and Stripes Forever. As I said, we didn't want to turn this into a completely patriotic program, but this is pretty patriotic, right? It's a work that dates back to 1896. Oddly enough, has a strange minor connection to Vermont in that Sousa was in Europe on vacation when he got the news that his manager, David Blakely, had died. And the reason I mentioned that there's a connection to Vermont, David Blakely was actually born in East Bakersfield, Vermont, and lived in the Midwest for much of his life, but then ended up having a summer home in Vermont. And the Sousas actually would come up quite often to visit Blakely as a summer home in Vermont. So there is this strange connection, but as I mentioned, Sousa got the news that he had passed away, and so immediately boarded a steamship back to the United States. And it was during that voyage, when he was wandering the deck, really quite sad, reflecting upon this loss of a friend, and he was suddenly struck with this image of the Stars and Stripes flying over the White House, back from his days as the director of the Marine Band. And it was this vision in that moment that was the catalyst for the music that you're about to hear. He didn't actually put pen to paper until several months later, but he said when he did, it was though the march was already fully formed in his mind. This, as I said, is our national march, and we hope that you enjoy listening to it as much as we enjoy performing it. The Stars and Stripes Forever.
everyone. Good night. Thank you.